Chapter 620. Is there any hope? Outside the headquarters of the ancient covenant, Lin Fei halted his steps, and behind him, many martial ancestors and true immortals did the same. No one spoke. These beings, once viewed by many in the divine realm as lofty and immortal, now stood in utter silence, their eyes filled with resolve yet overshadowed by confusion and despair. What use was momentary defiance? Once the Supremes retreated, what could possibly hold back the invasion from dark demons? Fellow Taoists, whether it be Azure Emperor Supreme, White Cloud Supreme, or any other Supreme, they have ultimately freed themselves from the bonds of the divine realm, Lin Fei began. Expecting them to fight desperately against the dark demons, as we would, is simply unrealistic. But relying solely on our fervor is futile. We need formidable strength. We needn't think about reaching the level of the Supremes. In dire times, powerful powerhouses naturally emerge. And even if we perish with purpose. Lin Fei's words did not stir any waves. Everyone present was either a true immortal or a martial ancestor, having overcome countless hardships to reach their current stature. They had faced every imaginable difficulty, mere words were insufficient to inspire them. Suddenly, the great dream ancestor spoke up. Lin Fei, there's another important reason everyone followed you out today. You are a legend of the divine realm. You've achieved miracles, and everyone believes that even against the dark demons, you can work wonders. Now, can you give us a clear answer? Do you have any assurance against the invasion of the dark demons? Even a 1 in 10,000 chance would suffice. Even the slightest hope would be a tremendous inspiration for us. All eyes turned toward Lin Fei. Though prepared to face their demise and aware that this battle could be a cataclysm for the entire divine realm, they still yearned to see some hope, any at all. Without even a sliver of hope, their fervor would be meaningless. Their hope rested with Lin Fei. Lin Fei, the #1 martial god of the divine realm, the only one to withstand 9 heavenly thunders and now a martial ancestor, had ascended from martial god to martial ancestor in just 3 years. He had even managed to cleanse the yin-yang immortal domain of dark demon entities and escape from a Supreme's clutches. Lin Fei's many feats spoke volumes. He was not just capable of miracles, he specialized in them. Lin Fei himself was a symbol of the miraculous. Looking at the many true immortals and martial ancestors gathered before him, Lin Fei chose his words carefully. He did not wish to lie. There was no point in it. Lin Fei took a deep breath, his eyes shining like brilliant stars, radiating dazzling light. Of course, there is hope, he proclaimed. In fact, the hope is greater than you might imagine. The Supremes are not untouchable. I am nearly there. I require a vast amount of true monarch-level world laws and a significant quantity of dark demon flesh essence. With enough of these 2 resources, even if I do not ascend to Supreme status, I can match or even surpass most Supremes. Lin Fei's declaration was resolute, a testament to his confidence. To him, becoming a Supreme was never the ultimate goal. Lin Fei never considered the Supremes unattainable. His eternal realm only needed to evolve to the true monarch level. With that transformation, Lin Fei was certain of his potential. Even if not a Supreme, his power would certainly rival one. In time, if the illusory realm also transformed, when combined with the eternal realm, how many Supremes could stand against Lin Fei? Excellent. Hope. Lin Fei is our hope, and indeed the hope of the entire divine realm, responded the great dream ancestor. As long as there's hope, I believe in fellow Taoist Lin. Since martial ancestor Lin is so confident, why don't we lend him our support? Indeed, we, the ancient covenant, with so many martial ancestors and true immortals, may be able to confront the Supremes of the dark demon domain directly. Yes, we can help gather true monarch-level world laws and even the flesh essence of the dark demons, right? Exactly, that's what we should do. Fellow Taoist Lin, rest assured, we will do our utmost to find true monarch-level world laws and the flesh essence of dark demon entities for you. I have some exotic beast flesh essence here, would that be useful? I also have a true monarch-level world law to offer Lin. Promptly, many true immortals and martial ancestors began to produce various essences and world laws. Lin Fei did not hesitate to accept them all. He realized that indeed, he could quickly enhance his strength with ample supplies of flesh essence and world laws. His power was formidable, but ultimately, he was one person. If he were to gather these resources slowly, how long would it take? But now, with the entire ancient covenant's true immortals and martial ancestors helping him, it would be much easier. Thank you, everyone, Lin Fei bowed, expressing his gratitude to the true immortals and martial ancestors. Fellow Taoist Lin, you're welcome, they replied. We hope that you will soon possess power rivaling a supreme. Then, the entire divine realm will indeed rely on fellow Taoist Lin. As the many true immortals and martial ancestors dispersed to gather what Lin Fei needed, White Cloud Supreme watched with a cold smirk, dismissively remarking, a group of true immortals and martial ancestors who truly don't understand what it means to be a supreme. Do they really think they can cultivate a supreme by pooling everyone's strength? How ludicrous! And to think they can do it in such a short time. This Lin Fei indeed possesses some talent and insight. But to think that mere talent and insight are enough to achieve supreme status, that's simply absurd. White Cloud Supreme shook his head, skeptical of Lin Fei and the actions of the true immortals and martial ancestors, even carrying a hint of mockery in his tone. However, Azure Emperor Supreme remained silent. He too had once climbed from the lowest ranks to become a revered supreme, standing at the pinnacle of the divine realm. Yet now, he had lost his edge, choosing to flee in the face of the dark demon domain. Watching Lin Fei, he was reminded of his own past fervor and confidence. Perhaps, he thought, some decisions might truly have been mistakes. Suddenly, Azure Emperor Supreme opened his eyes, seemingly having made a decision. He spoke solemnly, White Cloud Supreme, I am not planning to leave the divine realm just yet. If we must leave, it will only be when all hope is truly lost. And right now, the divine realm is far from that point. This sudden change in stance from Azure Emperor Supreme to stay and continue resisting the dark demon domain within the divine realm took White Cloud Supreme by surprise, his eyes widening in disbelief. Azure Emperor, you've gone mad, White Cloud Supreme exclaimed. To think that you'd be swayed by such a group. Do you really believe they can create miracles? Without the Supremes, the divine realm will surely fall. Moreover, it's not just me who is leaving, many other Supremes are as well. Even if you stay, what difference will it make? Do you actually believe that Lin Fei can create a miracle? Despite his persuasion, Azure Emperor Supreme's eyes sparkled with a trace of resolve, hinting at a deeper conviction. Yes, perhaps that Lin Fei really can create a miracle, he said meaningfully. Chapter 621. The Secret of the Supreme. Lin Fei returned to his dwelling and did not leave again. There was no point in visiting the Yin-Yang immortal domain anymore. If even the Supremes were preparing to leave the divine realm, then the Yin-Yang immortal domain was surely abandoned. Moreover, the initial demon Supreme was undoubtedly keeping a vigilant eye on it. Should Lin Fei appear there, he would definitely try to kill him on sight. Last time, Lin Fei had escaped by sheer luck because the initial demon Supreme was unprepared. But now, Lin Fei was confident. If his illusory realm was stronger, he believed he could escape even if he encountered initial demon Supreme again. However, Lin Fei's considerations had shifted beyond mere escape. The question now was, how could he confront a Supreme? How could he even save the entire divine realm? And what exactly was a Supreme? How does one become a Supreme? Lin Fei had almost no understanding of this. In fact, many martial ancestors and true immortals also lacked knowledge about the nature of the Supreme. It seemed a deeply secretive matter, and the Supremes themselves had not disseminated any information about their rank. Lin Fei was confident that even without becoming a Supreme, as his eternal realm continued to evolve, he would possess power that could rival or even surpass a Supreme. But understanding the nature of Supreme would certainly help in knowing the enemy, especially since the Dark Demon Domain also had its Supremes. While Lin Fei was deep in thought, his chamber suddenly vibrated with a subtle ripple of space. To his surprise, a figure appeared before him. It was Azure Emperor Supreme. Lin Fei was astonished. Hadn't the Azure Emperor Supreme spoken of leaving the divine realm? Why was he here now? Azure Emperor Supreme looked at Lin Fei and slowly began to speak. Lin Fei, do you wish to know what it means to be a Supreme? Lin Fei looked intently at the Azure Emperor Supreme and bowed respectfully. Please enlighten me, Azure Emperor Supreme. You may have heard that the true immortal, also known as the Tao Integration Realm, represents a state of being, the Supreme began. Tao Integration is indeed what defines a true immortal. However, the true immortal state is not the end. Above the Tao integration realm, there is another level in the path of immortality called Mahayana. Mahayana is the state of transcending the cage, truly being free to roam. Not even a realm can bind a Mahayana. To break free from the constraints of a realm, a true immortal has only one path, power. Do true immortals continually cultivate their combat avatars merely to augment their arsenal of techniques? That is not the case. Once the avatars proliferate to a certain number and coalesce into a single entity, at that moment, their power surges, transcending the limits of their realm. Naturally, they are no longer confined, then it is Mahayana. We martial cultivators differ. A martial artist's strength is inherently their own, derived solely from within. We have grasped a Tao, but only superficially. To truly master it, and even to actively expand it, is to bring this Tao to an unsurpassable state. Or rather, when the Tao we wield can instantly dominate all others within a realm, we achieve supreme. Supreme does not require comprehension, it simply happens when conditions align. If it is achieved, so it is. If not, then supreme remains elusive forever. Thus, the supremes deliberately obscure the knowledge of how one becomes a supreme. Should you know, you might intentionally cultivate an avatar or deliberately train in the Tao, which could ironically hinder your progress. It might even ruin your cultivation. Upon hearing these words from Azure Emperor Supreme, Lin Fei had an epiphany. So, supreme was a matter of natural progression, of achieving a pinnacle of understanding in one's Tao. As for martial cultivation, one should refine their comprehended Tao to its utmost limit, even to the point where it could overwhelm the divine realm's Tao. Lin Fei then thought of his own world Tao. Indeed, Lin Fei's world Tao was potent. Of course, it was still far from overwhelming the divine realm's Tao. At least, not yet. But that did not mean he could never achieve it. Once Lin Fei's eternal realm transformed into a true monarch-level world, his world Tao would undoubtedly make extraordinary advances. How much might his power increase by then? Could that make him a supreme? So that's it. I never imagined, but I have been on the path to supreme from the start, and remarkably so, without any detours. Lin Fei realized. As long as he continued on his path, allowing the eternal realm to evolve, he was likely to achieve supreme. Of course, this was also challenging. The transformation of the eternal realm was uncertain in its timing. As your Emperor Supreme, I am puzzled about one thing. You were prepared to leave the divine realm, why then disclose to me the secrets of supreme? Aren't you afraid that I might intentionally cultivate the Tao and thus fail to become a supreme? Hearing Lin Fei's question, as your Emperor Supreme smiled faintly and said, with your talent, martial ancestor Lin, if you cannot become a supreme, perhaps no one in the divine realm can. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you have already found the path to supreme. As for why I haven't left the divine realm, perhaps it's because of you, or perhaps because I still have some attachments. Therefore, I've decided to stay in the divine realm. At least, in the absence of absolute danger, I will act to protect the divine realm, to protect the ancient covenant. As for what becomes of the divine realm in the future, I do not know. Perhaps, when the moment of life and death arrives, I too will resolutely leave. As your Emperor Supreme was candid. Naturally, he could leave the divine realm for the chaos at any moment without any repercussions or difficulties. Yet, he chose to stay for a while longer, to exert his utmost efforts in guarding the divine realm. That was sufficient. For even if the final outcome was not favorable, how could that matter? At least, Supreme Qing Atlantic would have no regrets. Thank you, as your Emperor Supreme. Lin Fei bowed deeply, genuinely grateful to the Supreme. Many true immortals and martial ancestors truly had no choice but to steadfastly remain in the divine realm. But as your Emperor Supreme was different. He had a choice, yet he still chose to stay. With the Supreme presiding, it wasn't about saving the entire divine realm, but at least the ancient covenant would be safer. Should a Supreme from the Dark Demon domain approach, as your Emperor Supreme could hold them at bay. Lin Fei no longer contemplated aiding other areas of the divine realm. His focus was on safeguarding the ancient covenant. Or rather, Lin Fei was looking to buy time, as much time as possible. Time was precisely what he lacked the most. And with as your Emperor Supreme present, even if the Dark Demon domain advanced toward the ancient covenant, the Supreme could buy Lin Fei more time. Of course, that was all as your Emperor Supreme could do. Reversing the dire situation was beyond him. Only Lin Fei might have a glimmer of hope, provided he had enough time. Following this, Lin Fei began his seclusion because the first, second, third in an endless stream of world laws were delivered to him. Even a substantial amount of dark demon life essence was brought to him. Clearly, those from the ancient covenant, the true immortals and martial ancestors, were not just talking. They were truly taking action. Chapter 622. Members of the ancient covenant in crisis. In the secluded chamber within ancient city, Lin Fei gazed upon the dark demon life essences before him, not solely essences of dark demons but also those of formidable exotic beasts, slain by some unknown true immortal or martial ancestor. In the past, such actions would have incurred the wrath of the All Beasts Alliance. However, given the current situation where major powers had largely collapsed, the All Beasts Alliance was too preoccupied with its own crises to concern itself with these trivial matters. Thus, Lin Fei had acquired an abundance of these essences. Lin Fei was well aware that every piece of true monarch-level world lore and each essence had been procured by true immortals and martial ancestors who had braved great dangers to deliver them specifically to him. Therefore, he was determined to utilize every piece of world lore and essence, striving to ensure their efforts were not in vain. Let's begin. Lin Fei took a deep breath. Consume. Immediately, he began devouring the essences one after another. At the same time, his illusory realm was assimilating various world laws. Lin Fei was advancing on two fronts simultaneously. As vast amounts of life essences were absorbed into his eternal realm, a multitude of life forms began to emerge within it. With the proliferation of life, the progress of the eternal realm steadily increased 21%, 25%, 27%, 30%. For Lin Fei's eternal realm to advance even slightly was typically challenging, yet now, with so much essence, the progress was accelerating significantly. As the eternal realm continued to expand and evolve, Lin Fei's power grew correspondingly. Buzz. Time passed unmarked until, within the eternal realm, the first animal life form was born. This life form was only slightly larger than a microscopic organism and began to reproduce slowly. As it reproduced, it seemed to adapt and transform to better suit its environment. Days turned to weeks, and these life forms seemed to evolve into insects, crawling on the ground, their numbers increasing rapidly. A diverse array of life forms appeared. Boom. At the same time, Lin Fei's eternal realm thundered. After a violent tremor, Lin Fei immediately summoned the system. System. Quickly, Lin Fei called up the system panel to check. Host, Lin Fei. Martial realm, martial ancestor. World level, minor world, progress 68%. Illusory realm, true immortal level. Lin Fei glanced at the display. His eternal realm had reached 68% completion. With such progress, transformation seemed imminent. However, the supply of life essences was dwindling. Lin Fei's eternal realm still required a substantial amount of these essences for its transformation. In the distant yin-yang immortal domain, now largely occupied by dark demons, some scattered battles persisted. It seemed that constantly, individuals infiltrated the yin-yang immortal domain to launch surprise attacks on the dark demons, creating trouble and slowing the expansion of the dark demon domain. This tactic proved effective. At least for now, the dark demons were busy sweeping and clearing out the remaining resistance within the realm. At this moment, a team composed of 4 true immortals and 3 martial ancestors from the ancient covenant was within the yin-yang immortal domain, seizing opportunities to ambush the dark demons. Their presence there was specifically to supply Lin Fei with a vast amount of dark demon life essences. As long as they were cautious, the power of these 7, comprising true immortals and martial ancestors, was such that few in the dark demon domain could match them. Thus, everything had initially gone smoothly. However, the situation had recently become less favorable. Look ahead, another large group of dark demons, one of them pointed out. If we can eliminate this group, we might be able to temporarily withdraw from the yin-yang immortal domain. Indeed, something feels off about the yin-yang immortal domain lately. It might be wise to withdraw sooner rather than later, another added. These 7 true immortals and martial ancestors all sensed something unusual within the realm and planned one final sweep before leaving. But during this operation, they faltered. As the 7 descended among this group of dark demons, a tremendous force erupted. A vast body suddenly spanned the void, its emanating aura staggering the 7. "We've finally caught you," a thunderous voice boomed. "You mere true immortals and martial ancestors dare to raid the Yin-Yang immortal domain, seeking death." Confronted with this formidable presence, the group was taken aback, an immediate sense of alarm rising within them. A supreme. This was a supreme of the Dark Demon domain, cleverly concealed among the ordinary Dark Demons as bait, specifically to trap this raiding squad. "Damn, it's a supreme," one exclaimed. "It seems we've been targeted all along." "Run, we must escape," another urged. "There's no escape, this is a supreme of the Dark Demon domain, no less formidable than any from our divine realm. If they've been waiting here all along, this is surely a trap. How can we possibly escape now? It seems we can only send a message to Martial Ancestor Lin. After this, we won't be able to supply him with the Dark Demon life essences anymore." The 7 true immortals and martial ancestors quickly understood their current predicament. The 4 true immortals were likely safe, they could not be killed. Being fused with the Tao of the divine realm meant that not even a supreme could annihilate a true immortal outright, unless they could somehow sever the true immortal's connection with the divine realm's Tao, which was an impossibility unless the Dark Demon domain completely overtook the divine realm. However, the 3 martial ancestors were in grave danger. Unlike the true immortals, the martial ancestors did not possess avatars. Once their physical forms were destroyed, they would be utterly annihilated. Despite their formidable capabilities in preserving their lives, what could they really amount to in the face of a supreme? A supreme could easily extinguish a martial ancestor without issue. "Fellows, hurry and leave," urged the 4 true immortals. "We will deploy all our avatars to buy you some time. Let us hope for a miracle." Without hesitation, the 4 true immortals immediately manifested all their combat avatars. A buzzing sound filled the air as over 50,000 true immortal avatars densely packed the void, their combined aura formidable. Yet, against a supreme, these avatars were destined to hold only briefly. Let it be a fight to the death then, the 3 martial ancestors took a deep breath, their eyes resolute. Inside Lin Fei's secret chamber, his supply of life essences and world laws had almost been depleted. Although Lin Fei felt significant progress, his eternal realm seemed yet to transform. It had not evolved into a true monarch-level world, even though its progress had reached 72%. However, Lin Fei's illusory realm had also seen substantial improvement, and along with his eternal realm, he felt that if he were to encounter the supreme of the Dark Demon domain again, he would not be able to contend with him, but at least surviving in his presence should no longer pose a problem. Suddenly, Lin Fei's messaging stone vibrated. He picked it up and looked at the message. Chapter 623. Ambush of the Supreme. 7 true immortals and martial ancestors are trapped in the Yin-Yang immortal domain, facing imminent danger. Lin Fei's eyes turned icy. The Supreme from the Dark Demon domain had personally intervened, how could they possibly relent easily? In terms of strength, the entire ancient covenant, including Lin Fei, only comprised 12 true immortals, 9 martial ancestors, and 3 hermits, a total of 24 powerhouses at the true immortal level. Now, with 7 of them caught in a perilous situation, the situation was dire. True immortals, though not facing death if their main combat avatars were destroyed, would find it difficult to regain their full strength quickly. The 3 martial ancestors, lacking such avatars, faced even grimmer prospects. A supreme could directly kill them. These 3 accounted for nearly 1/8 of the Covenant's power, a crippling blow to the ancient Covenant. Moreover, these 7 true immortals and martial ancestors were on their mission to procure large quantities of Dark Demon life essences for Lin Fei. Their venture into the Yin-Yang immortal domain was a risky one, directly associated with aiding Lin Fei. Naturally, Lin Fei could not stand idly by. With a swift movement, Lin Fei left the secret chamber and immediately sought out as your Emperor Supreme. "As your Emperor Supreme, our 7 true immortals and martial ancestors are in grave danger," Lin Fei reported urgently. "With a Supreme from the Dark Demon domain acting against them, only you can save them. What are your thoughts?" "Of course, we must rescue them," responded the Azure Emperor Supreme. "However, this time I should go alone. You are a particular thorn in the side of the Dark Demon domain, it's too risky for you to venture there." Azure Emperor Supreme was prepared to go alone, wishing to spare Lin Fei the danger. However, Lin Fei shook his head firmly. "That's impossible, I must go. Besides, I'm not without means to resist a Supreme. Even if I face one, I'm confident I can keep my life and retreat safely. Lin Fei harbored a bold idea. He saw this as an opportunity. Since he was going to the yin-yang immortal domain, why not make the most of it? His trip was not solely for rescue, it was also to collect more dark demon essences. With the highest concentration of dark demons in the yin-yang immortal domain, it was essential for him to go. Moreover, this time was different from before. This time, Lin Fei was confident he could withstand a supreme. At least, he could save his own life. Even if he encountered the initial demon supreme again, he could still make an escape. Seeing Lin Fei's resolute demeanor and recalling his previous escape from a supreme, Azure Emperor Supreme no longer insisted. Very well, we should not delay any longer. Let's depart now. The Azure Emperor was well aware of the dire situation. The three martial ancestors teetered on the brink of demise. Without any delay, they shattered the void and instantly disappeared into the void tunnel, leaving no trace behind. In the yin-yang immortal domain, the situation was grim for the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors. The combat avatars of 4 true immortals had been annihilated by the supreme of the dark demon domain. Simultaneously, the bodies of the 3 martial ancestors had been largely obliterated. Moreover, the void was sealed. No matter their efforts, they could not break the void, much less enter the void tunnel. Such was the power of the supreme. It turned the very act of fleeing into a luxury for the true immortals and martial ancestors. This time, even if we die, we must cause trouble for the supreme of the dark demon domain. Once the order is given, detonate all particles immediately and ensure a severe blow to him. This was the result of a consultation among the 3 martial ancestors. They were prepared to perish together with their enemy. Even if they did not die, if they could severely injure the supreme, their purpose would be achieved. Regrettably, the supreme of the dark demon domain had already anticipated the intentions of the 3 martial ancestors. Thus, with a cold laugh, he said, "HMPH, you still wish to self-destruct? Useless, before me, even suicide is a luxury. Remember, I am the supreme of the dark demon domain, the initial demon supreme." This supreme was none other than the initial demon supreme. Ever since he failed to defeat Lin Fei, allowing him to escape, the initial demon supreme had personally taken action, continuously sweeping through the yin-yang immortal domain's true immortals and martial ancestors. For the initial demon supreme, a being of such high stature, to sweep through the yin-yang immortal domain's true immortals and martial ancestors was an overkill. Certainly, he could sweep away all opposition. The 7 true immortals and martial ancestors of the ancient covenant had naturally been marked by the initial demon supreme. So I hear you are from the ancient covenant. I wonder if Lin Fei will come to save you. I have been looking for him for a long time. The initial demon supreme sneered. You. The 7 true immortals and martial ancestors tried to speak. However, they were completely suppressed by the terrifying authority of the initial demon supreme, struggling to move, let alone speak. The initial demon supreme was also considered in his heart. Would Lin Fei come after all? If not to lure Lin Fei here, he would have already killed these 3 martial ancestors. Otherwise, could they really send out a distress signal? It was impossible. The reason he allowed the 3 martial ancestors to send out a distress signal. It was also a deliberate act by the initial demon supreme. It was all to attract Lin Fei. Suddenly, faint ripples of space appeared within the void. The 7 true immortals and martial ancestors widened their eyes, their faces etched with desperation as they shouted, "Do not come, for heaven's sake, do not come." They feared that Lin Fei would rush here regardless of the consequences, falling right into the trap. Yet, their cries were in vain. The ripples in the void pulsed wider and more vigorously. Clearly, someone was traversing the spatial realms, approaching rapidly. The initial demon supreme's eyes gleamed. He stared intently at the space ripples and said coldly, "So you've come at last. This time, I will not let you escape again." The initial demon supreme was almost certain that it was Lin Fei arriving. Whoosh! As a figure emerged from the void tunnel, the initial demon supreme took immediate action. Boon. The initial demon supreme held nothing back. His attack was with full force, ambushing the one traveling through the void. Bang! However, when the 2 forces collided fiercely, they quickly separated and evenly matched. The initial Demon Supreme looked at his opponent in shock. Not Lin Fei. Are you the Azure Emperor? The initial Demon Supreme had evidently prepared well and was familiar with some of the Supremes in the Divine Realm. Moreover, he had previously encountered the Azure Emperor Supreme and Chaos. Whoosh! Just then, a familiar figure appeared, making the initial Demon Supreme's eyes turn bloodshot, almost to the point of madness. His gaze was fixed on the figure emerging from the void tunnel. Lin Fei. Unexpectedly, you have brought the Azure Emperor Supreme with you this time. But do you think that having a Supreme with you will save your life? The initial Demon Supreme sneered. In truth, he had hardly exerted any effort against the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors just moments ago. But now, with Lin Fei present, the initial Demon Supreme would spare no expense. He was determined to slay Lin Fei. Whoosh! In the next moment, the initial Demon Supreme charged at Lin Fei. The void was immediately sealed, preventing Lin Fei from escaping through it. Moreover, the body of the initial Demon Supreme swelled enormously, transforming into a colossal giant towering hundreds of thousands of meters, a terrifying figure that seemed to pierce the heavens. Lin Fei, meet your demise. The initial Demon Supreme launched his fist. Instantly, the void shattered. Pure power surged tumultuously towards Lin Fei. Chapter 624. Encountering the initial Demon Supreme again. Lin Fei once again faced the initial Demon Supreme. This time, the initial Demon Supreme was thoroughly prepared, resolved not to underestimate Lin Fei and allow him to escape again. With a mighty strike, Lin Fei tensed up, feeling almost as if he was suffocating. At any moment, the might of the Supreme was terrifying indeed. At least, for now, Lin Fei had not yet transformed, and the Eternal Realm had not evolved, thus, he was far from being a match for the Supreme. All he could do now was to hold the line. The Azure Emperor Supreme was about to make a move. But suddenly, another Supreme appeared in the void. This Supreme swiftly intercepted the Azure Emperor Supreme and said with a smile, Azure Emperor Supreme, your opponent is me. The Azure Emperor Supreme's expression darkened. 2 Dark Demon Supremes, unexpectedly, this time, the initial Demon Supreme had become shrewd, bringing another Supreme just in case. And now, his preparations were indeed proving useful. Upon witnessing this scene, the initial Demon Supreme's face revealed a hint of a smile. He sneered, see, Lin Fei. The Azure Emperor Supreme you're relying on can't save you. Today, no one can save you. Lin Fei glanced around, narrowing his eyes slightly, and said coldly, is that so? Initial Demon Supreme, you couldn't kill me the first time, and you won't kill me now. Lin Fei's goal was to rescue the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors. And for now, the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors were still alive. That was the silver lining. He just needed to get them out. As for the initial Demon Supreme, Lin Fei had no intentions of confronting him now. He didn't yet have the power to face a Supreme. But he did have the ability to preserve his life and escape in the presence of a Supreme, and that was enough. Illusory Realm. Without hesitation, Lin Fei invoked the Illusory Realm. Boom. The Illusory Realm descended, suddenly enveloping the initial Demon Supreme. Ha ha ha, you used this trick last time. Now I am prepared, your method of suppressing the mind will not hold me back anymore. Seeing the Illusory Realm descend, the initial Demon Supreme was not surprised. He had prepared for it. Regardless, he allowed the Illusory Realm to envelop him. Buzz. But when the Illusory Realm truly descended and enveloped the initial Demon Supreme, his expression suddenly changed dramatically. How could this power that suppresses the mind be so strong? The initial Demon Supreme had just tried to break free from the Illusory Realm. He indeed had some preparations, even carrying some artifacts that could strengthen the mind with him. However, the initial Demon Supreme forgot, or perhaps underestimated. He could make preparations in advance, but couldn't Lin Fei enhance the power of the Illusory Realm? In fact, Lin Fei had significantly increased the potency of the Illusory Realm. It was far superior to before. The initial Demon Supreme was still measuring this Illusory Realm by the standards of the last. That was bound to lead to his downfall. Even a complete rout. In the blink of an eye, the initial Demon Supreme's gaze became muddled. At the same time, Lin Fei's Eternal Realm instantly spread in all directions. Not good. Initial demon, wake up. The Supreme of the Dark Demon Domain, who was battling the Azure Emperor Supreme, changed his expression instantly. He could not have anticipated that the Initial Demon Supreme would once again fall into confusion. Evidently, he was again suppressed by Lin Fei's unique technique that targeted the mind. He attempted to rouse the Initial Demon Supreme. It had some effect. The Initial Demon Supreme struggled. However, Lin Fei's eternal realm spread rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it had encompassed the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors. As you Emperor Supreme, let's go. Lin Fei did not hesitate. He immediately shattered the void. Whoosh! In the next moment, Lin Fei's illusory realm and eternal realm suddenly contracted. Lin Fei plunged into the void. In an instant, he disappeared without a trace. The Initial Demon Supreme also suddenly came to his senses. His expression was ugly. Clearly, he understood what had just occurred. Lin Fei had once again escaped right from under his nose in full view of everyone. He was even powerless to stop it. Damn it! How could he succeed again? Is my mind really that fragile? No, it's Lin Fei, he has grown stronger. The Initial Demon Supreme's expression was grim and unpleasant. Lin Fei had grown stronger again and in such a short time. If this continued, once Lin Fei truly became a Supreme, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Azure Emperor Supreme had witnessed all of Lin Fei's maneuvers. Seeing that Lin Fei's illusory realm could even trap the Initial Demon Supreme, even if it was only for a short time, it was enough. With such a method, it would be very difficult for a Supreme to kill Lin Fei. At least, when facing most Supremes, Lin Fei could retreat comfortably. Whoosh! Seeing Lin Fei had left, the Azure Emperor Supreme hesitated no longer. He also traversed the void to leave. As a fellow Supreme, the Azure Emperor Supreme, when deciding to leave, let alone 2 Supremes of the Dark Demon Domain, even 3 or 5 would not be able to detain him. Supremes are not easily killed or destroyed. Unless the power completely overwhelms or specifically counters them, no one can confine a Supreme, much less slay one. Even the Lord of the Dark Demons relied on his ultimate trump card. Only then was he able to slay the original Tao Supreme, but that was a one-time event. Initial Demon, you have failed again. This time, you were fully prepared and even used the true immortals and martial ancestors of the ancient covenant as bait. Yet, under these circumstances, you still couldn't kill Lin Fei. This matter you can explain to the Lord yourself. With that, the Supreme of the Dark Demon Domain also left, leaving only the Initial Demon Supreme grinding his teeth in the darkness, his body radiating murderous intent. Lin Fei, next time, I will surely kill you. Although the Initial Demon Supreme harbored a deep hatred for Lin Fei, he was also acutely aware of the strength of Lin Fei's illusory realm, which could suppress his spirit. Unless the Lord would bestow upon him some precious treasure specifically to strengthen his mental will, he would never be able to kill Lin Fei, no matter how many times they met. Despite his reluctance, the Initial Demon Supreme had no choice but to leave. Even with thorough preparations, he was utterly defeated. He now had to consider how to face the Lord's wrath upon his return. Whoosh! Lin Fei returned to the ancient city. He moved the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors out of the eternal realm. The 7 true immortal martial ancestors glanced around and smiled. It's ancient city, we are saved. We didn't die after all, and it's all thanks to martial ancestor Lin. Martial ancestor Lin, today was really dangerous, you took quite a risk. Next time, please don't take such risks. Indeed, if we had died, it would have been just us. But martial ancestor Lin, you are the hope of the entire divine realm, don't take such risks. However, we must thank martial ancestor Lin no matter what. The 7 true immortal martial ancestors bowed and expressed their gratitude to Lin Fei. Especially the 3 martial ancestors. They were truly prepared to die in battle. They didn't expect to still be alive in the end. And to be well. Their gratitude towards Lin Fei was genuine. A trivial matter. You were searching for the essence of the dark demon's life for me, how could I stand by and watch you die? Besides, you all saw it this time. The Initial Demon Supreme cannot do anything to me. Even when facing a Supreme, I can retreat with my whole body. Hearing this, everyone smiled. Being able to preserve life in the presence of a supreme, to some extent, they were now regarded as equals to a supreme. It seemed they were not mistaken. Lin Fei was indeed the hope of the ancient covenant and even the entire divine realm. Chapter 625. The Azure Emperor Supreme's Gift. At the residence of Lin Fei in the ancient covenant, he was greeted by the Azure Emperor Supreme, now the sole supreme of the ancient covenant. After all, the White Cloud Supreme had left the divine realm and ventured into the chaos, his whereabouts unknown, perhaps never to return. Lin Fei, the situation is becoming quite dire, the Azure Emperor Supreme began. From what I know, about 2/3 of the Supremes have chosen to leave. In the entire divine realm, fewer than 10 Supremes remain. Facing the full-scale invasion of the Dark Demon domain, this handful of Supremes can hardly make a difference. The time left for the divine realm is running short. The Lord of the Dark Demons has not made a move yet, he is likely gathering forces. Perhaps he plans to take a decisive action to completely conquer the divine realm. Lin Fei's expression grew solemn upon hearing this. Indeed, the situation was increasingly severe. The time remaining for him, or indeed for anyone in the divine realm, was truly running out. Once the Dark Demon domain was ready, their next assault might spell the end for the divine realm. Is there really no way, Supreme? Isn't it said that becoming a ruler can change the tide, that the Dark Demon domain wouldn't be able to do anything then? Could you or another Supreme become the ruler of the divine realm? Lin Fei asked. Becoming a ruler might be a solution, or finding a way to become one could be crucial. At least, it would significantly increase the chances of preserving the divine realm. The Azure Emperor Supreme shook his head, difficult, or nearly impossible. To become a ruler, one needs profound insight. Despite many years of contemplation, which among us Supremes has truly understood? None, not a single one. Thus, without understanding, accumulating resources means nothing. Unless there is a sudden flash of insight one day, perhaps that could lead to becoming a ruler. But such a possibility is exceedingly slim. The Azure Emperor Supreme understood clearly the difference a ruler makes to a realm. A realm with a ruler stands on the invincible ground, unafraid of exposing its position in the vast chaos. Even if there is an invasion, a ruler is well equipped to handle it. For instance, the Dark Demon domain. Is it truly stronger than the divine realm? That's not necessarily the case. It is merely because the Dark Demon domain has birthed a ruler that it continues to expand and invade other realms within the chaos. Without a ruler, the divine realm finds itself continuously retreating in the face of invasions from the Dark Demon domain, now backed into a corner where it faces a fight for its very survival. This is the critical difference that having a ruler makes. A realm with a ruler is a completely different proposition. If we cannot bring forth a ruler, the divine realm is indeed in peril. Lin Fei murmured softly. Dangerous? Perhaps, the Azure Emperor Supreme agreed. But, Lin Fei, hope lies with you. The power to suppress the mind that you displayed before the initial Demon Supreme was that from the Saber World. Saber World? Lin Fei pondered momentarily. No, that was the illusory realm. It is somewhat similar to the Saber World, evolved step by step from it. Your illusory realm is quite remarkable, somewhat akin to the dreams of the Great Dream. If your power of the illusory realm continues to grow, perhaps a time will come when it can suppress the minds of several, even many Supremes. That would indeed change the situation dramatically. A flicker of unusual light passed through the Azure Emperor Supreme's eyes. Suppressing the minds of several, even dozens of Supremes was an audacious thought. No one would have considered it, given that Lin Fei was only a martial ancestor. Even in the presence of the initial Demon Supreme, he could merely preserve his life. Yet, suppressing dozens of Supremes. Was that even possible? However, Lin Fei understood the potential of his illusory realm well. He felt that it might indeed have limitless prospects. What the Azure Emperor Supreme suggested was not entirely impossible, in fact, it was quite plausible. Supreme, although my illusory realm is indeed miraculous, Lin Fei replied, to further enhance it, I need a substantial amount of true monarch-level world laws. And those are not easy to find. True monarch-level world laws. The Azure Emperor Supreme shook his head slightly. That's going to be difficult. I don't know of many true monarch-level worlds. With the current situation, searching for true monarch-level worlds one by one is too challenging. Does it have to be true monarch-level world laws? Wouldn't true immortal-level world laws suffice? True immortal-level world laws. Supreme, do you have true immortal-level world laws? Lin Fei suddenly became excited. True immortal-level world laws. If there were indeed true immortal-level world laws available, what need would there be for true monarch-level world laws? A single true immortal-level world law could be worth 100, no, even several hundred true monarch-level world laws. Unfortunately, while Lin Fei knew of true immortal-level worlds, he was unable to obtain true immortal-level world laws. After all, even in the ancient continent, where power is vast, not just Lin Fei but even Supremes cannot simply take world laws. Unless a true immortal-level world is on the brink of collapse, then the Supremes might have a chance to obtain its world laws. However, from what the Azure Emperor Supreme implied, there were indeed true immortal-level world laws available. Seeing Lin Fei's eager eyes, the Azure Emperor Supreme smiled slightly and said, "Coincidentally, I do have a true immortal-level world law here. Not just world laws, but also many other true immortal-level laws." Originally, when a true immortal-level world was nearing collapse, countless Supremes fought to seize its resources. While others scrambled for origins, I seized some laws and devoted myself to their study, hoping to gain insights to become the ruler of the divine realm. Unexpectedly, I never gained such insights. However, these laws have now found their usefulness. With that, the Azure Emperor Supreme extended his right hand. A faint glow briefly flickered in his palm, and then a world law materialized. It was a true immortal-level world law, emitting a terrifying aura of power. The difference between this law and those of lesser worlds, or even true monarch-level worlds that Lin Fei had encountered, was vast, like heaven and earth. Even Lin Fei felt the immense pressure from this true immortal-level world law, almost feeling suppressed by its force. This clearly demonstrated the strength of this world law. "Supreme, this world law is incredibly important to me," Lin Fei exclaimed. "I might try to integrate it into my illusory realm. If successful, I might truly be able to suppress the minds of Supremes. However, if possible, I would also need a great deal of dark demon life essence, preferably from powerful beings." The Azure Emperor Supreme nodded, understanding his request. "Life essence, you say? Those creatures from the dark demon domain are indeed excellent sources of such essence." A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. "Lin Fei, you try to integrate this into your illusory realm," the Azure Emperor Supreme instructed. "I will make a trip to the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain." With that, the Azure Emperor Supreme vanished in a flash, leaving Lin Fei alone. Lin Fei stood silently, holding the true immortal-level world law in his hand, filled with anticipation. "I hope this works." He took a deep breath and deployed his illusory realm. "Let's begin." The next moment, the illusory realm descended, swiftly enveloping the true immortal-level world law. Chapter 626. The Great Advancement of the Illusory Realm. Integrate. With a soft chant from Lin Fei, his illusory realm, along with the true immortal-level world law, began to merge. As this was Lin Fei's first time integrating a true immortal-level world law, he proceeded with extreme caution and at a very slow pace, gradually incorporating the true immortal-level world law entirely into his illusory realm. With each integration, Lin Fei's illusory realm swiftly expanded and swelled. The illusory realm, seemingly an unusual world akin to a dream yet not entirely the same, dreams did not possess the immense power of Lin Fei's illusory realm. However, the speed of integrating the world law into the illusory realm was very slow. After all, it was a true immortal-level world law, distinctly unique. Lin Fei did not know when he would complete the integration of this true immortal-level world law, but he was not in a rush. Slow integration was acceptable. Meanwhile, the headquarters of the Dark Demons in the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain, the Dark Demon Domain had now brazenly established its headquarters within the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain and began to issue commands. At this moment, the atmosphere inside the Grand Hall of the headquarters was quite tense. The Lord of Dark Demons sat high on his throne, with some Supremes and top-tier demon emperors below him. Generally, only top-tier demon emperors and above were qualified to be in this Grand Hall. At this moment, the initial Demon Supreme bowed his head and reported in detail to the Lord of Dark Demons about the events of this operation. Initial demon, you mean to say your carefully planned operation, even involving another supreme, began the Lord of Dark Demons, his voice growing increasingly louder, his tone incredulous, yet you failed to capture Lin Fei. And even the 7 true immortals and martial ancestors used as bait were all rescued by him. The initial demon supreme gritted his teeth, feeling humiliated, but there was no helping it, this was the truth. He dared not hide anything. Yes, your majesty, I miscalculated this time. I did not anticipate that Lin Fei's strength would be so formidable. Boom. Before the initial demon supreme could finish speaking, the Lord of Dark Demons furiously waved his hand, slamming a palm down towards him. Instantly, the initial demon supreme was fiercely struck to the ground. Even the body was shattered. Of course, it was merely shattered. The Lord of Dark Demons had not dealt a killing blow, thus not obliterating the body of the initial demon supreme. Even if obliterated, the initial demon supreme would remain unharmed merely from the pure force or method alone. After all, fundamentally, the Lord of Dark Demons was also a supreme, only having gained control over the Dark Demon domain to become the ruler. The dominion of the Lord of Dark Demons, too, was supreme. Although he could not kill the initial demon supreme, all the dark demons in the Dark Demon domain had left behind their Dark Demon hearts. The Dark Demon heart was fundamental, the Lord of Dark Demons, who held control over these hearts, thus controlled nearly all the Dark Demons, including the Supremes. Should the Lord of Dark Demons truly wish to kill a Supreme of the Dark Demon domain, it would be straightforward, simply destroy the opponent's Dark Demon heart in the Dark Demon domain. Once the Dark Demon heart is extinguished, whether a Demon Emperor or a Supreme, they would utterly perish. This was also why, with just a command from the Lord of Dark Demons, he could summon so many Supremes. Please, your majesty, punish me, pleaded the initial Demon Supreme, having regenerated his body, yet he dared not show the slightest discontent. Instead, he sought the punishment of the Lord of Dark Demons. HMPH, initial demon, I will note this debt against you, the Lord of Dark Demons declared. If you do not redeem yourself, upon your return to the Dark Demon domain, I shall personally punish you. But for now, you are spared. Thank you, your majesty, said the initial demon supreme respectfully, also sighing in relief. He, too, was a venerable supreme, yet to be publicly humiliated by the Lord of Dark Demons was indeed a loss of face. Yet, what could he do? He was powerless. The Lord of Dark Demons' gaze was icy, his mind flickering through various strategies. Lin Fei, he cannot be allowed to continue growing. Since the Supremes in the Divine Realm have largely withdrawn by 2/3, the remaining Supremes, too few to mention, now is the time to take decisive action. We must strive to conquer the entire Divine Realm soon. Once the Divine Realm is occupied, Lin Fei, even if he becomes a Supreme, what could he change? He cannot alter the overall situation. The Lord of Dark Demons also had his plans, in fact, they were already drawn up, and now, he was merely accelerating them. In the original plan, the Supremes of the Divine Realm posed a significant threat and nuisance to the Dark Demon domain, given their number. The Lord of Dark Demons could not continue to kill a Supreme at will. Doing so would likely reveal his hidden trump cards. After all, trump cards must be kept hidden to maintain their deterrent power. But if so many Supremes in the Divine Realm did not leave, the Lord of Dark Demons truly had limited options. As expected, the Supremes within the Divine Realm had developed differences. Many Supremes hardly cared about the Divine Realm, paying it scant attention. Faced with danger in the Divine Realm, they would rather venture into chaos than desperately fight against the Dark Demon domain. The Lord of Dark Demons naturally knew that those Supremes who had left were foolish. Only later would these Supremes realize what they had truly missed by losing the Divine Realm. However, this was advantageous for the Dark Demon domain. It meant that the Dark Demon domain could now fully wage war and invade the Divine Realm. Now, I command all Supremes and Demon Emperors to strike together, he decreed. Lead the vast armies of the Dark Demon domain and enter the Divine Realm. We aim to completely occupy the entire Divine Realm within a year. Let the Divine Realm become nourishment for our Dark Demon domain. Yes, your majesty, they responded. Thus, everyone went down to begin preparations. Once the Dark Demon domain moved, it would surely shake the heavens and the Divine Realm. Swoosh! Inside the secret chamber of Ancient City, Lin Fei abruptly opened his eyes. A flash of brilliance sparkled in his gaze. It's done. The true immortal level world law has now fully integrated into the illusory realm. Although the illusory realm seems not to have transformed, it is incredibly strong, beyond imagination. Lin Fei couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. This enhancement of the illusory realm was a monumental leap. Of course, to know exactly how much, Lin Fei would have to test it himself. His thoughts immediately turned to the Azure Emperor Supreme. After all, in the entire Ancient Covenant, the only one qualified to spar with Lin Fei was now just the Azure Emperor Supreme. With this thought, Lin Fei quickly got up, left the secret chamber, and flew towards the Grand Hall of the Ancient Covenant headquarters. Soon, Lin Fei arrived at the Ancient Covenant's Grand Hall and met the Azure Emperor Supreme. The Azure Emperor Supreme appeared to be quite busy recently but showed a slight smile upon seeing Lin Fei, and slowly spoke. "Lin Fei, what brings you to see me?" "Azure Emperor Supreme, I have fully integrated the true immortal level world law," Lin Fei stated. "However, I find myself without a worthy opponent to test my newfound strength. Therefore, I have come to seek guidance from you to see if the Azure Emperor Supreme might be willing to test the might of the illusory realm with me." Lin Fei was straightforward, directly stating his request.